Well, hello everybody and welcome back to another Jamboard video from Evolve EdTech. So thank you so much for joining us again. Today we're going to go through another one of our 20 Jamboard templates that we have created for you and that are available for absolutely free on the Evolve EdTech website. So in a sec, we'll head over to the Evolve website and I'll show you the template and show you some examples of how you could use the template to give you a little bit of inspiration or some ideas. So if you are new to these videos, thank you for stumbling across. I greatly appreciate you being here. My name is Tristan. I am the person, the team behind Evolve EdTech. You may recognize us. We used to be known as the EdTech teacher. We have evolved from that. We now Evolve EdTech, where we've now got a bigger focus on integrating and sharing our love of technology with you so that you can start to use some of that in your classroom. Technology is really big. It's scary. Sometimes you're not necessarily sure what you want to do or how you want to use it. We want to give you tips, tricks, ideas, inspiration. We want you to change, grow, evolve, and innovate when it comes to using technology in your classrooms to develop that capacity in your students for their lives in the big, broad world that they will be going into moving forward. So thank you so much for joining us. Now, if you have not done so already, I would love it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Evolve EdTech. Please go on, please subscribe. It'll inspire me to continue to make these and provide me with the backing to continue to support my many colleagues throughout Australia, where I'm based, and the world. So I would really appreciate that if you could go and do that, please. Anyway, today we're looking at the evidence web template. Now, it's a fairly simple template, and I designed it to be simple, but it's a really great summary template that we can use collaboratively, whether we're doing it together or whether we're going to get our students to complete part of it together through a template that we might duplicate in our Jam. So let's head to the Evolve EdTech website. I'll show you where to find the templates if you're new to these videos. Just head to our website, evolveedtech.com. It is scrolling across the bottom of the screen there. If you have not visited us before, evolveedtech.com, and you'll end up on our website. Now, our website's fairly new at the time of this recording, so there are some things that might not be ready, but hopefully over time we'll start to get those and start to flesh it out more so that it's a really useful repository for you to go and access resources. So to access our Jamboard templates, we're going to head up the top to the Evolve Resources tab here, and we're going to click on that, and then we're going to scroll down to our Jamboard templates. Now, you'll see that there are actually two Jamboard e-collections listed. Currently, only one is active. The other one is empty, but there will be more jams added to that as we create them. So today we're going to go to Jamboard template e-collection number 1. Now, in this e-collection, you will find 20 Jamboard templates, varying needs and purposes, and there might be something there that you might be able to use. Now, all of our jams come in 4 colors. They come in yellow, blue, red, and green. Okay, so there's 4 colors, which are the Evolve EdTech colors. So you can decide which color you would like to download and use. You'll notice a very simple description of the template, and then you'll be able to download the various color template that you are after for your particular needs. Now, you'll notice that it is set up in an accordion style. So just go and click on the template that you need, and that will be the section that opens. You also have noticed, hopefully, that these 20 templates are listed in alphabetical order. So if you're looking for a particular kind of template or for your particular need, just go and have a look for that in that accordion style. Had a big brain fart there. So you can go and have a look there to see what we have. Today we're looking at the evidence web, which, as I mentioned, is really simple, but it's a really great way to engage the kids, to get everybody involved, to summarize. Summarizing is a really great literacy skill that we can embed into our students. So the evidence web, we can use it collaboratively together as a class. We can use it individually, in teams, in small groups, in pairs. You can make it bigger. You could do whatever you like with. I've made it fairly simple this time, but sometimes being a bit more simplistic is a really great way of developing skills and capacities and competencies in our students. So let's go and have a look at the evidence web. Now, I've mentioned previously, when you download this particular template, you're going to have to make a copy so it goes into your workspace, into your drive, so that you can use it. I'll show you how to do that. It's really simple, really easy. It doesn't take a lot of effort, but you will need to do that before you can start using it within your own classroom. So let's go and we might have a look at the blue one today. So I'm going to open the blue evidence web here. I'm going to do it a little bit different to what I've done in previous videos. I'm actually going to right click this one, and I'm going to open this link in a new tab. If you just click on the link, it's going to open it up in the same tab that you're currently already in, which is fine if you don't need to go back. But if you need to stay and go back to the Evolve EdTech website, I would right click and open it in a new tab. So you can see it's opened up in a new tab here for me, and I can still head back to my Evolve EdTech website. So that's a little tip, a little trick. If you ever want to open a new website, but you don't want to open it in the tab that you're currently using, just right click and open in a new tab. All right, so as I mentioned, we are going to need to make a copy of this template before we start using it. And to do that, we're going to head up the top here to the top right-hand corner of our page. You'll see the share button here in blue, and then just to the left of the share button, you'll see the 3 dots, and I call them the magical dots. If we click on those dots, we're going to scroll down. We've got a whole heap of really cool other options and other functions that I'm going to talk about later here, but we're going to go make a copy. All right, so it's going to allow you to name it. It's going to pop it into your drive so that you can access and use this template to your heart's content. All right, so that is yours now. So now you can go in and you can use the editing tools that are available with Jamboard to manipulate and create this particular template into whatever you would like it to be. All right, so it's just coming up. Now, as I said, I did design this one to be fairly simplistic. So don't think that just because it is simplistic, it is too basic. I think it's a great way to get our students thinking about how they can be very concise with their information and ideas, and they can start to just really choose the most important points when they're coming to summarizing topics or ideas or concepts. All right, so this is the template here, and I did notice earlier that there is a slight boo-boo on this one, and we do have a double colon here at the end of each of the evidence and examples, so I will work on getting that updated and the template fixed. Clearly I was in I don't know whether it was just dark when I made this template or what I did, but at least it's consistent across all of the evidence boxes here. So that's good, at least. So you will see here that in the middle, we've got space to put our topic or idea, and then we have 6 spaces to include evidence or examples that help us prove or support that topic or idea that we're looking at. So we can do a couple of things here. We can add our topic or idea by coming over here and grabbing our text box. Just like I've mentioned before, the formatting features in Jamboard are fairly simplistic, but that's okay because simplistic is sometimes better. So we can align our text. We can left, right, and center align our text. We can change our text color, and we can change the size of our text box. So just be aware of the size that you make because you obviously don't want it to be too big that it's going to not fit within the template itself. All right, so what you do is you would put your topic or idea in there. You might put an image. It doesn't have to be text. You might put an image there, and then we'll go through and then we will find evidence or examples to help support whatever our topic or idea is that we're exploring. So that is essentially what this template is, okay? It's actually pretty simple. You might complete this as a class. You might have read a story, an article. You might have looked at a topic, okay? You're going to pop that here and get the students to provide you with some examples and evidence to back up or to prove or to show what they've learnt. And then you might put it there as the teacher, so you might be the one typing. You might share this with your students and get them to add it themselves. You might provide each student with one template, one of these frames each. That's what Jamboard refers to these as their frames. Okay, so they might have one individual frame each, and then they've got to look at a topic, a chapter, an idea, just to see what they're thinking, to see what they're summarising, and to go from there. So there's so many things that you could do with this. You can as well, obviously, if we head up the top here, we can duplicate these frames into multiple, this template into multiple frames. With Jamboard, we can have 20 frames per jam, so just be aware of that. If you've got more than 20 students in a class, you might need to make a second Jamboard file. To do this, we just head to the 3 magical dots here, and we duplicate our template. Absolutely easy. Just letting you know that when you do duplicate, just make sure that the original one is blank, because otherwise it's going to duplicate everything that is already in the jam in the previous frame that you duplicate. So just be aware of that so that you aren't having to go in there and delete heaps of stuff in the frames as you are adding and duplicating them. Now, I thought today I'd actually show you a couple of examples that I have put together. I've just whipped them up, show you what you could do with this, all right? And I think this is really great because we could use this from the very young kids, where we could be doing visuals, all the way up to our senior kids, our senior students, where we are looking at very text-based summaries. So let's go, and I'm going to show you a couple that I've just whipped up. Look, they're not anything that are overly complicated, but I hope you get some ideas of just what you could do with this particular template. So I'm an English teacher, if you haven't been with us here in Australia. So I do teach English to students from years 7 to 12, a high school teacher. And one of the poets that we do look at, especially in our Year 10 course, is Wilfred Owen. And you may have heard of his poem, Dulce et Decorum Est. Fantastic poem looking at the realities of war, essentially, and his experiences of war. So with this particular example, what I thought we could do here is, after we've read the poem, we might be able to provide some examples or some things that we've learned or discovered from reading this poem. So it could be our personal ideas, okay? What do we think Wilfred Owen was trying to convey in his poem? And we might pop our ideas in here. Again, you might be leading it as the teacher. We might pop in a text box and you type as the students are giving you the ideas. We might share this with the students and they might add a sticky note. All right, so they're going to write their idea in here in their sticky note, and it goes into one of those boxes, okay? So we could do that really simply. We could also be looking at this and we could say, Dulce et Decorum Est. We might be finding some examples, and there might be some quotes, some significant quotes that connect to the ideas of war that we're looking at, all right? So there's a whole heap of things you could do, especially when you're looking at literature, you're looking at text, okay? You're looking at films, images, okay? You could have a picture here, you have a painting, and then what are some of the viewings or some of the frames that we're looking at from this particular point of view? And we could talk about this here. So yeah, it's simple, but there's so many things that you could do with this, all right? And again, we want to start simple and then we can work on becoming more complex later on. All right, let's have a look at another one that I've created. This time, a little bit more simplistic. And this is what I'm saying. We could go and we could look at this from the perspective of those younger primary school years. Okay, so this time we're looking at man-made environments. And from here, we've actually got a whole other world of things that we could talk about. So we've gone to Google, all right? We've found some images that are demonstrating man-made environments. Okay, we've got some different examples. So maybe we could sit there with the kids and we could Google and show them all about making sure that we're selecting images where we have permission to be able to copy the, all right, all of that. Digital citizenship as well, we could be talking about that. But then we're also bringing in a whole heap of other discussions, okay? We've got, you know, the architecture here, the style of the Sydney Opera House, okay? This one here, I think it's an airport, but we're looking at it, and perhaps this could be a man-made island. So we're looking at how man or humans are able to manipulate the environment to create new things like these islands, okay? So we're talking about other aspects in addition to our original topic. So we're actually segueing into other areas that we could talk about. This third one here, obviously we can talk about density, we could talk about population, we go into poverty, we go into you know, just the environment, so many other areas that we could talk about from these images. So we find our initial man-made environments, we pop those in, and then we can talk about other ideas that we have or other connections that we have to the topic from those initial images and pictures. So that's another really cool way that we could use this, and we could use this template. All right, the next one that I have is a simple one. We might use this in primary school. We might use this in high school because, believe it or not, there are lots of people that don't know what verbs are. All right, so obviously verbs are our action words, and we might just want our students to provide us with some examples of verbs. All right, we might create a word wall, and we just want some examples of verbs, nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and we could just have these set up as different frames, and we just go through and we start to develop some examples. We start to think of some. It might be related to a piece of writing that we're doing, okay? It might be something informative or descriptive or persuasive. What are some verbs that we could use to help create our text, okay? So I've just gone here, I've just popped in a sticky note and then included some verbs there that we could include, and I've gone to the image instead of the sticky note there. So we'll just click off that. Click off that. If we go to the sticky note, we could add some sticky notes with some examples there, okay? You could add, you know, a couple of verbs per box here instead if you wanted to. Completely up to you, but a really simple way to use the evidence web. What are some verbs that you read in this particular text? What are some verbs that we could use related to this particular topic? Okay, so lots of ways that we could use this particular template. The next one I have, again, look, I think this is where we could go back to our younger kids, and this shows the versatility of this particular template and Jamboard. Australian animals, all right? So maybe we're talking about animals from a particular area or environment, okay? And here I've just gone and found some images. We've got some sticky notes of some examples that students have given us. Easy peasy, absolutely simple, that we can put that in there and we can summarize something that we've been learning about in terms of animals. And the last one that I'm going to show you, going back to my learning area of English, might be something like techniques, okay? Literature techniques. In this particular case, poetic techniques. So what we might get students to do is we might be doing a brainstorm or an introduction to techniques and just or some revision. And I asked the students to provide me with a technique, a common technique, and then give me an example. All right, so we start to brainstorm, we start to revise examples of these various techniques that we might be able to use. So there are 5 really simple ways that you could use this. We could use it to summarize. We can use it to talk about examples. It might be, you know, business, legal, psychology. It might be related to timber. It might be related to anything that you can think of. There is no limits to this. It's completely up to you. It's a simple template, but there's so many things that you could do with this template to engage your students. You could be leading it as the teacher. You could be getting your students to complete it themselves. You could come up with a great big jam here of really cool ideas that you can share with your students. Just before we wrap up, I will show you that you can, if you head back up to these 3 dots here, there's a couple of other functions. You can download your jam as a PDF if you'd like to distribute it to your students. You can save the frames as an image. So if you want to put it into some slides, into your sites, into your Google Classroom, or get it to your students, you can do that as well. So there's a couple of ways that you can make sure that everybody is able